Hello everyone. So in this video, we will talk about using folders in a document library versus using the metadata columns in a document library. And what are some of the benefits of using the metadata columns rather than using the folder structure in a document library to store your documents. Let's go and have a look. So I currently have three folders created in my reports library. So I have a reports document library where I have created three folders and which is customer feedback, sales and web trends. Now all these three folders contains different kind of reports. So in the customer feedback folder, I've got the Australia consumer feedback report and India customer feedback report, UK customer feedback report, and there is another report which is Australia and UK customer feedback report, right? So I've got all these documents which are the customer feedback reports in a customer feedback folder in a document library. The other folder I have is the sales folder. Now within the sales folder, I've got reports about the sales for different countries, right? So I've got Australia sales report and there is the Australia sales report for January 2023. Then I've got India sales report, India sales, report for the Feb 2022. So I've got multiple reports within the sales folder within the reports document library, right? The other kind of reports I have is the web trends report, which is like Australia web trends report, India web trends report, right? So these folders contains different kind of reports, and this is usually the way the organizations actually work. They create folders, and within those folders they create relevant documents. Now some of the challenges using the folders is basically, for example, you have this customer feedback folder. Of course you can upload documents in customer feedback folder, but if you have to for example find all the reports for Australia, which could be including your sales report, web trends reports, or the customer feedback report, you probably have to go into the separate folders and try to have a look at the reportings, right? I mean, of course you can create different views which will give you all of those reports, but then you will have to create multiple views for each different countries. Now if we try to use the metadata columns, it will be actually much easier to find those documents. The other difficulty of using the the folder structure is basically, it's number one, obviously it's hard to find the documents. The other thing is organization of the documents. So you have organized the documents in folders, but let's say if you want to move some documents from one place to the other place, or into a different folder, then it kind of becomes complex. I mean, you'll have to go into a particular folder, try to find that document, and that move that document around, right? And it also becomes really difficult if you have the multiple reports combined into one report. For example, I have I think within the customer feedback, I've got a combined report for Australia and UK. So it's a combined report for both countries, right? So if you want to look for just the Australia report, then this combined report, you might miss the combined report, or it might not be there. So it is manageable, but it's like the old way of organizing the documents. Organizations still use the folder structure, but at some stage, if you have hundreds of documents, it can become really complex to try to find the documents what you're looking for. So the better solution for that is, rather than having the folder structure created, we can actually make use of the metadata columns. What I mean by using metadata columns is basically we can actually break down the types of documents that we have, and we create columns and assign metadata. So whenever you upload a document, you can actually assign a metadata to all your documents, and then we can actually do the filtering or sorting, and it becomes really easier. So let's have a look how we can actually achieve that, rather than putting documents into the separate folders. First of all, what we need to do is we need to identify what our metadata columns would be. Well, in this case, it's it's really simple, because we know under a reports library we have three different type of reports. So we have customer feedback report, sales report, and web trends reports. That's why we have created folders for these reports. So what we need to do is we can basically create a column which could be called a report type, right? So let's just say if we create a column, I'm going to use the same reports library, but if you want, you can actually create a new document library and organize your documents within that library. So first of all, we'll create a column called report type. Now that report type column will actually contain multiple values, right? And one report could be a combined report. It could contain a customer feedback and sales data within that one report. So you have to think that if that's a possibility or not. Based on that, you actually create your columns. So let's assume that our reports can be a combined report. So obviously then when we talk about multiple values in one columns, we think of it as a choice column, or you can create a lookup column. You can create a separate list called report type and then use that list as a lookup list and create a lookup column within the reports document library. But for this exercise, we're just going to create a choice column. So let's just create a choice column and we click next. And we want to name this column as report type, because these are the different type of reports that the reports library can contain. So we'll say report type and the choices, right? What would be the different values that we want within the reports type column? So we have some obvious choices here. So one type of report could be our customer feedback. The other type of report could be sales, and then we have web trends, right? You can actually add more choices as well if you have number of different types that you can create. You can change the coloring of these different choices. So I'll just stick with the default choices that we have. Now we don't want to say can add values manually, because we want to stick to whatever type of reports the users can actually upload, right? If we go to more options, then we can say whether this is a drop down menu or do you want to allow the radio buttons, right? So I think drop down values is fine for us. We want to have a drop down menu for that. And then you have to decide whether you want to allow multiple selections. Well, in our case, there could be a combined report, which could be customer feedback and sales. So we'll say we want to allow multiple values in there, right? Once you have done that, then we actually click on the save button. Now, before we hit the save button, we also want this column to contain information. So we want to make this column as a mandatory column. So we say yes to that as well. And once we are happy with that, we click yes. So now that we are going to have a column which is called report type, right? So whenever you upload a document, you have to select one of the report type into that document, right? So that's one column that we have created. What else can we identify, right? So if I go back to our customer feedback report, obviously there are some reports for different countries, right? So then we have to create another column called country, right? So we have Australia, India, US, and we had UK in one of the other reports. So, whatever countries you have, so we will create another column for that countries as well. So we go back to our reports library and we say click add column. It will be a choice column again. We click next and then we say country. Right, that's a choice column. So our first country is Australia, second one is US, and then we have UK, and then we have India. And we go to more options. Obviously, a report can be a combined report as well. So we are going to allow multiple selections for this report. So we say yes, and we want this to be a mandatory column, and we click save. Now this is going to create another column called country. So we have the report type, we have the country, what this report is for. The other thing is about, the report can be for a specific period. So report can be for January 2023 or February or March, right? So then we have to specify the report period, right? So then we're going to create another column called reporting period. So click add column again. That will be a choice column. Next, and then we say report period and choice column. So now it's up to you if you want to specify, for the whole year or quarterly reports, depending upon your requirements. But if you are going to have multiple, reporting periods, I would suggest to create a separate list for a reporting period where you can list all of those, reporting periods. For example, for January 2023, February 23, or January 2022, you can have all of those created, and someone from your team can actually manage that list to add more values to that list for different, reporting periods. So for this exercise, let's just say we want to say January 2023, Feb 2023, March 2013. Let's just keep it March, and April 2013. Right, you can add up to the whole year, right? And then we obviously go to more options, and drop down menu is fine. We want to allow multiple selections. You could have a combined report, or if you want to keep it as a a report for a specific period only, then you can just say, do not allow multiple selections. So we'll stick to that. And then we want this column to be a required column, and then we click save. So now that we have our metadata created for these columns, right, now it's time to actually assign different, all of these metadata to the documents that you have actually uploaded. So how do we do that? Now this is an existing document library. One of the way we can do it, basically, let's just move these documents to the reports library, basically take them out from the folder. So we select all of these documents and we say move to. Once the options comes, then we are going to select the location where we want to move this, and then we click reports library, because we want to take all of these documents out from the customer feedback folder to the reports library, to the main library, right? So we say move here, and we do the same for the other reports as well. So nothing is in the customer feedback because we have moved the documents. We're going to do the same for the sales, so that we don't have any folders there. So I'm going to select all and move to, and we're going to move this to the reports library out of the folder structure. Click report library, and then we say move here, And then we do the same for the web trends folder. So go to web trends. I'm only moving these documents because I only have a small subset of documents. But if you are starting from scratch, then basically you can create a document library, set up your structure, and then move all the documents to that document library. Or you can do it periodically as well. So I'm going to select all of these documents and click on move. And then we're going to move it to the reports library. Once this comes up, then I select the reports library and then click on move here. Okay, so now that we have moved all of our documents into the reports library, there is no need for the folders, so we can just simply select the folders and click delete. Okay, so the folders are gone. We have all our documents in a document library. We have added our metadata columns, but obviously they required information, so we have to select which document belongs to which category, right? So because we have multiple documents, we're going to click on edit in grid view, and then we're going to select the columns for these document libraries. So this report type is a customer feedback report type, and then under the report type we're going to select customer feedback. Country is basically this is for Australia and UK, so I'm going to select Australia and I'm going to select UK. Reporting period, I haven't specified any reporting period, but let's just say this report is for January 2013. We'll do the same for the other documents. So again, this is for Australia and customer feedback. So I'm just going to say customer feedback, and this is Australia, and this report is, let's say, for February 2013. And same for the other reports. So customer feedback, and this is for Australia as well. And this is report for March. And we do the same for the sales report. So this is a sales report, and for Australia, and this is for January 2013, and we do the rest as well. So we say this is a web trends reports, right? And let's just say this is a customer feedback report, and this is a sales report. Click sales, and this is again India sales report. Click sales, let's say web trends. This is sales. If you have large number of documents, this could be a tedious process, but once you have set it up, this should be fine. Or you can actually start scratch from whenever you have your documents libraries created, rather than using folders, you can actually plan all the use of the metadata and columns that you can actually create rather than creating folders. So let's just quickly do that. First, customer feedback, sales. This is sales again, and we are just almost coming to an end here. So that's web trends. Okay, so that's a web trends report. There is no country specified. This could be one of the difficulties when you use folder structure, because you never know, someone just type a name of the report and upload into the folder, but you would never know which country it belongs to unless you open the report. So it's a good idea to use the metadata columns, because it becomes really easier for you to identify which report it is for and what country it belongs to. And it will be simpler for users to basically specify as well that okay, these are the metadata columns I need to select, and these are the mandatory columns. So that's for US. That's for US as well. That's for US, UK, That's for UK as well. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to quickly fill out all of these metadata columns so you don't have to wait. Let me fill those out quickly. So I have all the metadata created and assigned for all of the report types. And once you are done, then you can just say exit grid view. So now we have a document library where we have basically assigned all the metadata columns for this document library, right? So you can see that all the documents are now sitting in the reports library. They are properly assigned all the metadata and everything else. Now, if someone comes in and uploads a new document, for example, let's just say we want to upload a new document, right? So just go there and we go to our, try to find the document itself. Let's just say we want to upload another document, US customer feedback. And when we upload a new document, then we have to then select. So I already have the same file name. So let's just say I'm going to say keep both, and it's now going to ask me about all the metadata for this document that I have uploaded. So I need to select. It's a what's the report type for this document. So I'll just say this is a customer feedback form. So opens up in right side. So I'll also say the option is the customer feedback, and the country is obviously US. So select US, and then we select the reporting period as well. So this is, let's just say it's for 2013 February, and and we have now assigned all the values to the column. So right, so we close that one. So now we have this new document which a user has uploaded, and they are prompted to actually select all of these values. So now that we have done that, so what are the benefits for this? Okay, as I said earlier, it's really easy to find all of your documents. Now let's just say, for example, you want to have a look at all the reports for Australia, right? If you had folders, then you basically had to go into each different folder and try to look at the reports for Australia. But if you are using the metadata structure, right, it's really easy to find the documents. So we want to find all the reports for Australia, right? What we're going to do is we're going to click on the country, and we're going to click on filter by column and select Australia. And there you go. Then we have all the reports for Australia, whether it's a customer feedback report or sales report or web trends, right? You can actually select multiple countries as well, right? If you want to have a look at the reports for Australia and UK as well. So you click apply, then you have, all the reports for Australia and UK, which is, all of the reports, sales, web trends, or customer feedback report. Apart from that, if you want to further drill down and say you want to have a look at the reporting for January 2013, right, for these countries, you can do another filter by on the reporting period. So we do filter by, and let's just say January 2013, and then there you go, you have the reports for Australia and UK for 2013. So you can actually create different kind of filters and go through all of your documents within one document library. So it's really easy to find the documents. You can definitely create views as well. You can create views just for Australia, put in the filters for where the country is Australia, and then you have a view for all of your Australia. So it's easy to find the documents, and it's actually easier to manage the documents as well. So let's just say, for example, right, you want to let's just clear this filter for the countries. Do that same for our reporting period as well. All right, we can clear all, apply, and then we have all of our reports again. Now, when I say it's easier to manage documents, let's just say, for example, you now have, you want to change the country. Okay, so previously you had a document which was for Australia, but now, that's not Australia anymore. That's basically UK. If you were using the folders, then you have to basically find all those documents from different folders and then change the name of those documents from Australia to UK, right? But if you are using the metadata structure, then all you have to do is basically, you can filter all the documents for Australia, select a document, or you can basically, if you are going to change a single document, you can click on that document, and we click on the I button on the right hand side, which is the information for this document, and we are just simply going to change the country for this a particular report. So this report now belongs to UK, and it doesn't have anything to do with Australia. So this is a Australia customer feedback report, right, for February 2013, and we do that, and then we simply change the country to UK. So this document now belongs to UK, right? As you can see, this is really easy to find documents. You can even use the search as well, right? If I use Australia, for example, in search, it's going to give me all of the items which is related to Australia. The search is a great way as well. You can use the search to find all the documents for Australia. But as I said, using a folder structure versus metadata, you have a lot of benefits using the metadata structure rather than using the folder structure. If you have some standard reportings within your organization, and rather than creating all of these columns in separate libraries, you can actually create side columns. You can actually create content types and assign those columns to those content types, so that you can actually do a standard across your organization, that if someone is filling out or uploading a document which is a report, then they have to fill out all of these metadata columns, so that it's easier to find the documents. Well, I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. If you have any feedback, please put that in the comment sections. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again. Thank you for watching.